Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we have some amazing news for the Dallas Cowboys as it pertains to our future outlook and our ability to contend for the Super Bowl. I promise you, Cowboys fans, this video is not clickbait. I'm about to keep it a buck with you guys. Jimmy Johnson is back in the fold. Yes, the title of the video is legit. Jimmy Johnson is once again a part of the Cowboys machine. He's going to be helping Jerry Jones figure out exactly what to do with this organization to steer us in the proper direction. Let's get right into the news. All right, so the first bit of news I want to go over before we get into the Jimmy Johnson news is the fact that Tyron Smith does not want to retire. What that means is he is more than likely going to either be back with the Cowboys next season on a very, very short deal, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal, or he's going to have to go play for another team. He is a unrestricted free agent this offseason, so he is one of the players that we do not have any control over as far as contract wise, and he is due to come off of the books. I know y'all can't see that a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit bigger, but he is due to come off the books. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent, and if we were to want to bring Tyron Smith back at the level of play that he was giving last season, being realistic and not trying to cheat the man or shortchange him or anything, being realistic, if you want to bring Tyron Smith back, he is more than likely going to be somewhere in this range right here. As far as left tackles, he's going to be within this top 10 of average salaries for left tackles, unless he plans on coming to the Cowboys and giving us an extremely team-friendly deal. Now, to be quite honest, I don't know if he's going to do that, but if he does want to play with the Cowboys, and he did make it clear he doesn't want to play for any other franchise, he is going to more than likely have to take a team-friendly deal because the Cowboys just don't have the cap space, man. The Cowboys don't have the cap space, and the cap space that they do have, I do not want them spending it on Tyron Smith. All right, I'm not saying I don't want him back. I definitely would not mind having Tyron Smith back because it would just give the Cowboys another year to kind of find that new left tackle instead of having to prioritize that this draft particularly. You can have another year to find that new left tackle, maybe have some time for Akeem Richards to develop a little bit, some of these other guys that you have on the offensive line to develop a little bit, because we do have some interesting pieces on that offensive line as it currently stands, right? But yeah, the Cowboys don't have any cap space, y'all. They're under the cap by $21 million as it currently stands. Now, that is understanding that they're more than likely going to extend Dak Prescott. Them extending Dak Prescott will actually bring down his salary cap hit a lot. So it behooves them to go ahead and extend Dak Prescott. And there are some other guys that got to get some deals done. CeeDee Lambs and these type of guys. They got to get some deals done that's actually going to free up some more salary cap. So I'm just not sure. It really depends for me. It depends for me how much money Tyron Smith is trying to get. If he's trying to get paid like the rest of the left tackles in the league are getting paid. I mean, Trent Williams is older than Tyron Smith, so we can't say just because he's a little bit higher in age that he's going to try to get less money. Trent Williams is the oldest offensive tackle in the league, and he's still making $23 million a year. So we can't depend on his age is the reason why he's going to give us a hometown discount. So it's really going to be about how much does Tyron Smith love being a Cowboy, and is he going to try to sap up the rest of our salary cap space so that we can't do anything in free agency. And one of the things I really would want to do in free agency, and something that was very interesting, and I saw this idea get floated, was the fact that Mike Tannenbaum thinks that the Cowboys should try to trade Brandon Cooks to the Jets in exchange for CJ Mosley. Very interesting here. All right, so the reason that this trade would be very interesting, and I'm gonna be honest, it would hurt me a little bit to get rid of Brandon Cooks because I think that Brandon Cooks is like the ultimate locker room guy. I think that Brandon Cooks is exactly the type of player that this team needs dozens of filling that locker room. So I think it would hurt us a lot from a culture standpoint, losing Brandon Cooks offensively, especially with CeeDee still needing time to develop and grow into a leader and to kind of come out of some bad habits. Dak needs someone on that offense that's willing to say what they need to say to the guys. And I don't know if CeeDee is that guy. I don't think that any of the running backs are that guy. It doesn't seem like really any of the offensive linemen are that guy. Zach Martin seems like he's kind of laid back. Tyron Smith as well. Tyler Smith as well. So all the offensive linemen seem like they're kind of more laid back guys personality-wise. Except for the backup center. Brock Hoffman, he might have a little fire in him. He might have a little fire in him. But Jake Ferguson maybe would be the only other dude that I would look at as someone that could hold someone accountable in offense. And see, that worries me. That doesn't worry you guys, the fact that we can't sit back and think about all the players on our offense that are probably holding each other accountable and willing to go and say something to someone. It can't just be the quarterback yelling at everybody. That guy has his own job to do, and it's probably the most difficult job to do on the field. He cannot be the one that's trying to hold everyone accountable. That's the purpose of having position groups. That's why you have different meeting rooms for different position groups, because within that position, you need someone holding everyone else accountable. And I think Brandon Cooks is that guy for our wide receiver room. Now, obviously, we could easily go and draft a Keon Coleman or Tyler Nubin or, another wide receiver. I don't think Tyler Nubin's going to make it that far down. But another wide receiver, the Cowboys are in prime position to draft a really, really good one to pair alongside CeeDee Lamb. So trading Brandon Cooks and getting C.J. Mosley, a veteran linebacker that understands how to play the position in the NFL. Linebacker, to me, is one of those positions I'm not afraid of getting veterans in, because I don't think that you need a super young player in the most important positions on the field. I think linebacker is one of the most important positions on the field, and I think younger guys are more likely to have mistakes or to make boneheaded mistakes while they're holding those positions, right? So I would much rather have a seasoned veteran that's proven, that we know is a stud linebacker, and C.J. Mosley. C.J. Mosley would be a very, very interesting piece to add to the Cowboys. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that trade down in the comments below. I think C.J. Mosley would be an excellent piece to bring to this team and add to this linebacking core, especially with Mike Zimmer coming in. I think that would be an excellent piece. But all of this is going to be dependent upon Jimmy Johnson being back in the fold with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys after he was added to the Ring of Honor. So essentially, ever since Jimmy Johnson was added to the Ring of Honor, he has been added to the Cowboys Board of Advisors, and essentially it's a bunch of old dudes telling Jerry Jones what they think he should and shouldn't do as it pertains to the Cowboys. And very interesting to me that after all these years, Jerry Jones finally has the guidance of Jimmy Johnson on his side again. This is about as close as Cowboys fans are ever going to get to seeing Jimmy Johnson back on the sidelines for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think this is about as much as we can hope for, to be quite honest, because at least we know for a fact we have legitimate football guys that's going to put football first and not worry about the brand or how much money they can make. We have legitimate football guys advising Jerry Jones in what he should do with this team. And what's even more interesting to me is the fact that in his statement pertaining to this, and when he revealed this, he said, "Since the Ring of Honor, I am on Jerry Jones's advisory board now." We were talking on the phone. I talked to him about an hour after his Green Bay loss, and he was talking about what all he needed to do because he had big decisions on Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn and Dak Prescott. Everything is hunky-dory now. I am back in the fold with the Cowboys. Now, what was most telling to me was the fact that Dak Prescott was included in the big decisions that Jerry Jones feels like he has to make. This clearly shows me, and it just blows my mind that Dak continues to get disrespected like this by his owner. This clearly shows me that Jerry Jones does not truly believe in Dak Prescott. Regardless of Dak being an all-pro, regardless of Dak actually getting better each year in the NFL when he's actually healthy, each year he has played, it felt like he's gotten better and he's taken a step, right? Jerry Jones is still reluctant to pay this man. For him to have to need any type of guidance or advisory as it pertains to paying your all-pro quarterback, that says a lot to me. That says a lot to me. We'll probably dive into that topic on a different video, but I want to bring this news to you guys because I thought it was very, very interesting stuff. How do you feel about Jimmy Johnson being back in the fold with the Cowboys? I am going to reserve my judgments until I see it look like it actually has an effect. This could just be one of the things that Jerry's doing to drum up excitement within the fan base. You know what I'm saying? Jerry's a master marketer. He could just be bringing them on for fluff and just want to be more of an optics thing for the fans, right? So until I actually see something that looks like a Jimmy Johnson move, I'm not gonna get too excited. I'm gonna kind of just keep myself even keeled. That is the theme of the summer, is just to stay even keeled with all this stuff, y'all, because I'm not gonna get too high, not gonna get too low. All right, either way, appreciate you guys tuning in. Y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Catch you guys on the next one. We speak the same old Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.